Anyone else is yet to join? I think Diksha is
Yes,
trying to be there.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Okay, we'll wait. Meanwhile, have you all made one of these? You know, this is the arrow for silent E makes the vowels. It's just a stick, you know, with a piece of paper on top. Nothing exciting.
Diksha, please call Garima. Yes, she's here. No need to call.
Oh, good. Okay, a
Yes,
couple
ma'am,
of
we can
cameras
start
need
now.
to come. Okay, if Diksha and Garima can put the camera on, if it's working. Are you all in school today?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Good. And so far, everybody is staying healthy?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Good. Okay, well, anyway, even if Diksha and Garima don't have the, oh, there's Diksha. Okay, good. Whoops. Oh, Garima. Somebody's coming and going. Okay, good. So I was just saying to Shikha that I frankly don't remember last week when we were talking about the book, The Bee, if I showed you this chart, which was a reminder for silent E makes the vowel say its name, and the children come up with the arrow and move it. In case I showed you, sorry if I didn't show you, this is something you'll need. Now, since I can't get it to you physically, I was just saying, I think maybe I'll take photographs of some of this stuff. And when you see it, you can decide how to make it. You can see that this is long because the kind of chart paper that I have is, I don't know, nearly 2 feet, like 24 inches. So whatever chart papers you have, notice that it's kind of thick. It's not soft paper like this. So try to get this kind of stuff. And there's another chart for today's activity also. So I'll do some photography and I'll send the pictures. Do I send them to you, Shiko, or to Tapasya, or where should I send?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh?
You can share.
Should I send to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good. So fine. Today we're starting on the book that's called The Seal. And the point of this lesson is that the children have to learn that the letters EA can also make the long E sound. Now we know very well that they also make the short E sound in words like bread and head. But we're not worried about that right now. That's something that comes in 2nd and 3rd grade, and let them deal with it. You have enough to worry about. So for today, we're doing EA as a sound of E. So you call your students together, you show them the book, you tell them briefly that, well, it's about a seal, you know, a water animal that seems to be lost. And then the boy and the girl find him, and then they finally get him back to where he belongs. So that's what our story is about. Now, these are the word cards you're going to need. So the first word is Dean. Now that's the boy's name. And the next word is Jean. Now, that's a girl's name. Now, look, our kids don't always know what these names mean in the Western world. So take a second and be sure they know that Dean is the boy and Jean is the girl. The only reason it's valid to use these Westernized names is because they have the vowel sound in them. So it reinforces the sound, and they're constantly looking at DEAN, and maybe the EA gets fixed in their thinking. The next word is seal. That's the name of the water animal that we're talking about in the story. And real, mean, eat, lead, meet, Neil. Oh, I know what Neil is. Neil is the name of the seal in our story. Neil's name is Neil. The seal's name is Neil. Then there's the word meal and read and deal and seat. So boys and girls, all of these words have EA in the middle. I'm going to post them here so you can keep looking at them. You know, in today's lesson, we're going to learn a new way to make the long E sound. Ooh. Okay, guys, you got to make it a little bit mysterious, a little wonder. A new way to make long E? Wow. Well, now look, last week, remember we read the story of the bee, and here were some of the words that we used for the story about the bee. And you show those word cards from last week. Seems, needs, meet, see. Read them in your head now while I show them to you again. Just read them in your head. We just want the kids to focus on them. What they're doing is looking at the two E's and thinking, oh yeah, I remember be and meet and see. Yeah, this is going on inside their heads right now. You have to trust that it's happening. You don't really have a way of knowing for sure, but let's try to trust our kids. So now we had these words with double E, with EE from last time. And what sound did they make? Yes, they made the sound of long E. But today, look what I'm going to show you. This is a new chart about when two vowels go walking. The first one does the talking. Yeah. So let's see how that's going to work for us. I have this big old chart today, and it has a plastic cover on it. So I'm going to give you the marker, and you can actually put a mark on a word that you read. So the kids come up. This first column is all the double E, and this is all the EA. But all of these words make the sound of long E. So you showed them the poster, and you post it up right there, because this visual image will make more impression upon them than all of our talking. So each child comes up to the big chart, reads a word. So maybe he reads see, puts a check mark next to it on that plastic paper, and tells the meaning of the word. So if he puts a check mark on SEE, he needs to be able to say, okay, see, this means what you do with your eyes. If he puts a check mark on SEA, see, well, that's like the ocean, the water. Yeah, oh, fine, that's a good enough definition. So they need to be able to say the word and explain the meaning, because if they don't know the meaning between this C and that C, what's the point? They have to recognize that what our eyes do has two E's, and what goes on in the ocean is EA. This is the learning. And so it has to be practiced and repeated, and every child needs to get at least one turn. And if you think you have time, do it twice. So the teacher repeats the sound in the words. You can read a couple of the words from the chart, pointing to them. The sound is the same. It's long E. Sometimes we have EE. Sometimes we have EA. And guys, you're going to have to just use your eyes to remember which one it is, because there's no way to know. Be upfront with the kids and let them know that there's no magic thing I can do for you guys. You're just going to have to learn it. And there's no rationale. Again, it's as we've said before, some words have come from these languages and some have come from those, and have just brought these irregular spellings with them. So gotta live with it. So we're going to need these words in our new story today. So here are your books. Let's do a picture walk. So you walk through the story. You have to be a little careful. I don't know if you've read the story. It's a bit strange. I mean, the boy and girl are walking maybe in the park or something. They see a seal. Now, what is a seal doing in the middle of a park? Okay, I don't know. And they decide, is it real or not? And well, okay, but seals don't bite, so we can go and talk to it, rub it. They decide to take it home. He needs something to eat. Now, the seal doesn't want meat, so mom gives him some cod. You'll have to explain to the children that cod is a kind of fish. That's it. Then they hear about some mela or circus or zoo or some activities happening in the town. They see that in the newspaper. So although it's not written in the story, you can point out they're looking at the newspaper and they see there's some event happening. A man comes along to now pick up the seal because, oh, seal's in the wrong place. The man gives them a ticket to enter this mela or fair, whatever's going on. The kids go there, they see that Neil can do tricks. And because they can't take Neil home, the man gives them a toy seal and they live happily ever after. So it probably is worthwhile taking a minute to go through the pictures and talk about the story before you read it. Because it's not exactly a straightforward, easy to understand story. Now I'll read the story and you look at the pictures as I read. You don't have to say anything. So you read the whole story. Now I'll read it again. This time you look at the words. Remember, if you don't know a word, look at the pictures. So you read it again and they're following. And now you ask them to whisper read the story and you go around to see how they're doing. Okay, that's the same format. The activities for this day are 2 sheets, actually, similar to what they've done before. First one here, read the word. Color the vowel E in red. So if it's the word MEET, they're going to color the E's in red. And if it's the vowel EA, they color it in blue. And the words are mixed up, so they can't just go straight down the page and do all red and all blue. So that's first activity. And second one, they have pictures and they have to find the word from the bottom and fill it in on the line. So this would be feet, tea, seat, leaf, and so on. But the words are there, so they ought to be able to read them. They're pretty simple words. And I'm sure you'll appreciate the elegant drawings that I made up, most of them. So that's day 1. And they're going to reread the whole story by themselves. They may get stuck at some point. So what is your advice to children who do get stuck? Check with your partner. See if someone else at your table can help you for a minute. Because when I'm with the other group, I'll have to ask you to wait. That's part of the routine you have to establish as you begin working with this group of children. When I'm in group, I can't help you. So find someone who can, or do something else until later. Now, that's not what you're used to doing. You're used to responding like an emergency room doctor to every crisis that arises. Well, sorry, it's not going to be like that. They're going to have to learn to wait, figure it out for themselves, get help from a partner, do something else until you're free. Second day, come back together, show the word cards for this lesson with EA and the previous lesson with EE. We keep showing them to help them make the distinction, realize they look different, they sound the same, but they also do different jobs. Because when EE is in meat, it means, hi, I'm going to go and talk to my friend. When EA is in meat, it's something you eat. Sorry. So that's part of the kind of underlying message of this lesson. There are also some new words now we want to focus on as sight words. So those word cards are went, led, cod, and tame. Not very hard. This is where you want to be sure to explain that cod is a kind of fish. End of story. So let's show that poster again. 2 vowels go walking. The first one does the talking. So boys and girls, what does that mean? It's a fun thing to say, but what does it mean? Yeah, that's right. When there are 2 vowels in a word, we only hear the sound of the first one. Oh, I get it. So what sound do the letters EA make? Yes, long E. Let's make that sound. E. So it could be EA, it could be EE. We have to know the word. Review the activity sheets from the day before, and then have a little chat, because this helps to remind the children what the story is about. Oh, why do you think Neil was in the park? How could a seal get to the park? Oh, there's no specific answer. What we're trying to do is get the kids to think. Yeah, well, how could he? Maybe he ran away. Maybe someone took him there. Okay, whatever. What do you think Jean's mom felt when they brought the seal to their house? What do you think mom thought then? Okay, doesn't matter what, I mean, maybe she seems to be okay with it, oddly enough. But if they say, oh, she'd be angry, oh, she'd be scared, oh, she was nice, fine. Any answer is correct because it doesn't matter in the story. So now you hand out the books, read the story as the children read along silently. Then they partner read, taking turns on each page, the whole book. You explain day 2 activity, which is cut out the E and EA and put them in the word where they belong. The picture will guide you. Here's a leaf, here's a tree, sheep, and tea. Cut out your 2 vowels, stick it, paste it in the word you think it belongs in, and then write the word again. The picture will help you. Now they should be able to do this without any help. One habit you can start instilling is show your partner your work and see if your partner agrees or has any ideas to share with you. And you can share your partner's work. This way they're self-checking, they're checking with a partner. Maybe he's got one of them wrong. Well, you can fix it now. So you don't have to worry about it. So these kids are getting to the point where they can take responsibility for their work. Whew. Big piece of learning. And they're mature enough, I should hope, by this time. The other activity they can do that day is matching. I hope you've got these papers and you'll make copies of them because what you need is to put them on word cards. So they'll have a picture of a, let's see, of a beet, and then they'll have the word beet. And when they play the matching game, okay, here's a picture. Oh yeah, I know this is a beet. Beet, okay, I got a pair. And so they get a point or whatever it is. So this is a cut and paste activity for you, okay? And they're in color, most of them, so it's a little more interesting. You know, C and C. So that's a task. You need to make probably 2 or 3 sets of these matching cards. This is the first game, so that different kids can be playing it at the same time. And surely 2 kids can play together. It's more fun if they do partner work. But you want to be able to occupy 8 or 10 children with this activity while others are doing the other kinds of things. Some are reading, some are doing the worksheet. If you have extra copies, no harm. Better than not having enough card sets. It's a pretty boring thing to have to do. So that's where I want you to work with Tapasi Ma'am and see what resources the school can offer you. Somebody should cut the cards. Somebody should do the photocopying. Maybe you can, I don't know, if the DDs have time where they can cut the pictures out. However you can get it done. If you had time, you'd do all of it, but you've got 37 kids in your class, so. Besides which, this should well be done before you're going to teach the lesson. So have all of this stuff ready the month before, because you can't be doing it the night before. Day 3, come together, show, let's see, yeah. I'm going to show you the chart again that we worked on the other day, which has the EA and the EE words. And I'm going to give everybody a little card. Now, some of you will have a card that says EA, and some of you might have a card that says EE. Whoops, here you go. Okay, so every kid in your group gets a card. Now, I'm going to read some of the words on the chart in mixed up order. So you're going to read them randomly. If I read a word that has the EE, and you have an EE card, hold it up. Then you can read that word to us, and you can be sure that we'll listen for the long E sound, okay? Now, if I happen to read a word that has EA in it, and you happen to have that card, go ahead and hold it up. and then you can read a word. So you'll have to do this several times so all the kids get a turn. Yes, folks. What sound do the letters EE make? Yes. What sound do the letters EA make? Yes, long E. Let's make that sound. E. Okay, let them do it a little bit. It's fun, it's relaxing, it's goofy. It's sometimes loud. But that's how you're sure that the kids are with you. They have to be engaged. The learning has to be going on in them. You're just presenting it. So the more times you ask that question, what does that sound? Well, what are those letters that make that sound? The more opportunities you have for that connection to be made. And you're thinking, oh my God, how many times do I have to say the same thing? Well, maybe 37, or maybe 2 times 37. I don't know your kids. So then you review the new word cards from yesterday: went, led, cod, and tame. Review vocabulary over and over. Some kids learn by looking at it. Some learned, okay, they're looking and they're hearing, oh, that's what tame. Okay, tame. Maybe now they're hearing it properly. Some kids learn by thinking, oh, wait a minute, that's cod. Oh, yeah, that was the fish that the mother gave. So who knows what method of learning they have? You have to use them all in little dribbles, not everything all the time. So now we review yesterday's activity sheet that we had. And this time the children are going to read like Reader's Theater. So somebody will be the book, the narrator. Somebody will be sentences beginning with Dean or Jean or Mom and so on. So they read the book in parts that way. So give them a book, tell them who they are, and they get started. Probably you have about 5. You might have to do it again, or you might have to have the book person do half and then choose another child to be the book for the second part of the story, just so everyone gets a turn. Activity for day 3. Okay, so here they have to fill in the missing vowel letters and sounds. So seals are not mean, said Jean. So in that first line, most of the words need the EA sound. But who knows? It will not eat us, said Dean. Okay. The seal seems real. So seems is 2 E's. So since they've been learning this vocabulary, and you have it posted on the chart in the front of the room, so they can always look up and, oh yeah, seems. Good if they look around and try to find it out. Even if they get up, walk to the front and which one is seems? That's learning. By asking you, what letters do I put for seems? There's no learning. That's being lazy. So allow them, show them how they can get up and move around the room to get the information they need without disturbing anybody else. This might be the biggest new learning that they have when they come to class 1. Because it's been kind of a free-for-all, kids kind of talk out and do things and make noises and stuff. Now we're going to be a little more focused, not because it's class 1, but because that's how we want our school to operate. This is a real learning center. And every minute the children are in school is a learning minute of some kind of learning, whether it's social, citizenship, mental health, language, math, whatever it is. So how can I get the answer I need without disturbing the rest of my group? Oh yeah, I see the word there. Okay, I'm going to go and look for it. Okay, now I'm going to do it. So really important to instill some of that behavior. There's another matching game. It's called game 2. This time they're going to match the homophones. So there's a whole bunch of cards, and you did receive this, which has all these homophones, and all you need to do is photocopy it, cut it out, and stick it on cards. Again, get help. So this time they mix up the cards and a matching or memory game. So, okay, I got the word deer. Now let's see, what is oh, this is beat. So that's not a pair. Okay, I'm gonna put beat down. I'm hoping I can, pretty soon I can find my other deer. Okay, your turn. Oh, you got, oh, now you know where the other beat is? I remember. Hey, look at, you got two of them. You've got beat and beat. So you get a point. So anyway, this is how the kids can play with a partner, or they can do it to themselves. Again, please make many sets of these homophones. And we're not calling them homophones. There's only class 1. That is a spelling part of the program in class 2 and 3. So that whole grammar thing will happen. You're just helping them to see 2 different words that do different work can have the same sound. How weird is that? So you're making lots of copies. And then they're going to read the story on their, they can read the story with their partner when the other work is done. You know, sometimes they read individually, sometimes they read with a partner. It's good to just mix it up so that they have some options. And again, you can decide based on what else has been going on. If you think this is a good day for everyone to read quietly, I need some peace and quiet here, then they read individually. If it's okay that they read with partners, make a choice. So on day 4, they all come together and you want to review the vocabulary again, but this time do it with riddles. So here are the words, guys. Have a quick look at them because you'll need some of those answers to my riddles. Okay, something that is true is, who can find it? Who can, yes, what's real? Very good, thank you. Okay, lunch is one of the 3 that we have in a day. Who can find it? Who can find? Yes, what is it? Meal. All right, good. So just with riddles, and I've only given you 6 or 7. Maybe you can make up some more. And you can certainly apply this strategy to other lessons. It's just mixes it up and makes it fun. You can also, because you know, some kids always finish their work before you want them to, give that as a suggested extension. All right, see if you can make up some riddles to go with all these words and even last week's words, you know, with be and seem. See if you can make up some riddles. All right, test your partner on that. Anytime a good idea occurs to you, either note it down or say it out right then and there. And because deal and lead are a little harder to use riddles for this group, you can just remind them. You know, deal is when we agree on something. And lead is sometimes we call what we put our dog's neck and take them for a walk. We call that the lead, or we can lead someone home. We can take them home. Just quick reminder. Let's see. Oh, let's review yesterday's activity, what we were doing, see if we can find the right sounds, and then talk about the story. Boys and girls, could this be a true story? Why? Why not? It's up to them. It is possible for an animal to escape from a circus or a zoo or a mela or something. Yeah, it is possible. Lots of stories are based on that kind of stuff, an animal escaping. As long as they can defend it. It can't possibly be true. No seal could be in Delhi. Well, you're probably right, because we're very far from the sea. There you go. Oh, sure, it could be true, ma'am. Sure. Why? Well, because maybe he just got out of his cage. Okay. It doesn't matter. What you want to see is how many of your kids are thinking this through. Now, could it be real? What would be the situation that would make it true? Now, he's not saying that, but that's what's going on in here. So, do you think animals should do tricks? Why? Why not? And they'll probably have some strong feelings about this. Kids begin to think about animal cruelty. Yeah, you think it's okay for the animals to do tricks? Okay, like what kind of a trick? Okay, like roll over. Yeah, that's okay. Do you think animals should jump through a fiery hoop? Oh, that would be dangerous, wouldn't it? What? And so they may have some examples to give, maybe they don't. Anyway, you can take that conversation as far as you feel like and time permitting. This time, the partners will read pages 1 to 9, just the first half of the book. I have always tried to break the sections where the story Still makes some sense if you read up to page 9. Maybe that's like the climax. What's going to happen next? So we stop there, and then we read the second part later. So the partner read 1 to 9. You're listening, making notes, seeing the progress. This is the time in every single lesson where you're able to hear how the children are progressing, and you're making notes. So even if you can only listen properly to 3 children on one day, and then 3 more, and then 3 more, yeah, you didn't doing it. And you're not writing a paragraph, you're just writing a couple of words to remind you, okay, yeah, he's stumbling over something. For day 4, and they're going to read the story individually this time at their table. For this activity, they have to read the sentences at the bottom, cut them out, and paste them in the correct order. The sentences are not in the right order, so they have to cut them out, understand what goes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then paste them in this space. So they don't have to write anything. Wow. So what are they focusing on? They're reading, and they're thinking, and they're practicing sequencing. That's the aim of this. This is not about writing. So some children, because habits or whatever they are, or a substitute teacher or a friendly helper who happens to be in the room, might think they have to write it over here. No. The aim of the exercise is read it, understand it, think about how that story progressed, and then arrange the sentences in the right order. Now, sequencing is a hugely important aspect of reading comprehension, literature appreciation, whatever these fancy names are for understanding the story. You have to be able to remember or figure out what happened first, okay, then this, and then, okay, and that's how it ended. That's step 1 in a more sophisticated part of understanding the cause and the effect. Now that comes into play when kids are older than first grade, but I know that Dilbeer talks a lot about these aspects of literature and comprehension and applying the story. Now, these are very basic, silly stories, but the concepts can still be practiced, introduced, understood. And after all, we all have to start at a simple level to build the concept, whether it's in sewing or driving a car or cooking. We have to start with the simple one that okay, I get this because I already know how this works. I got this part. Now I can move to the next higher level. So let the children practice something like sequencing with a story that is just so silly and simple. So when they're having to read something in 3rd grade, they'll already know what it means to look for the sequence. So this is not literature, this book, but some of the components can be practiced. So they're doing that, and they're playing the matching game again. Okay, reading it individually, doing the worksheet, playing the matching game, keeping busy. 5th day, come together. You give 1 lesson word card to each student. Now there's quite a few EA words. They read the card aloud when it's their turn. Okay, yes, go ahead. Seal. Okay, your word is Neil. Okay, your Neil. Good. Okay. Now pass the card to the left. So now I've got a new card. So when it's my turn, I'll say, my card is Neil. Okay, pass your card to the left. So do this 3 or 4 times so that many children get a chance to read the card out loud. Now they have to read it out loud this time. So they really have to try to read it. They have to be sure that meal. Oh yeah, meal. It's okay if they for a minute. Okay, this says Dean. Good. They're working at reading it. You get that point, no? That they're decoding it, they're thinking, they're applying what they've learned. So they do that. Review your activity from yesterday, the sheet. Now, this time they partner read the last part of the book, 10 to 16. And you're circulating and looking and listening. Explain day 5. And again, they do that. This time they can read any pages in the book that they want. Now, some of you are afraid they'll just read one page. There are some people who will just read one page. But there are plenty of kids who'll read 2 or 3, or who will say, hey, you know what? I read this. Did you read this? How funny. And what did you read? Oh, yeah, that's good too. So they'll probably chat about it. And that's learning with a partner is better than learning on your own. You know, group work produces a better outcome than one person on his own. So there'll probably be a little comment. How many pages did you read? 1? I read 3. So now this guy's going to read 2 more as fast as he can. And the activity for today is to look at the picture and then write your own sentence. Now, the sentence cannot be something like, it is nice. It has to be a sentence about the story. So the first sentence could be, they see a seal. It should not be copied from the book. It's what does the kid think? Mom gave him a cod, or mom gave him food, or mom gave him a fish. Something about the picture. But this is a chance for them to do independent thinking and pull out as many correct spellings as they have. They're not going to have them all, but this is not an exercise in spelling. So if you go through the pages and find some words are misspelled, the ones that are related to the lesson, you need to ask the child about. But if they spell they, T-E-Y, I mean, you can say, oh, by the way, when I go to check the word wall and see how we write the word they, I think you know how to do that now. So you will need to look at the children's work, and you will need on the 2 or 3 or 4 pages where there's some significant mistake, particularly related to this lesson, the EA sound, you'll need to call those children. And when will you do that? You'll do it whenever there is that 5-minute time in between something. The Hindi teacher didn't show up, or the music teacher didn't call you today, or whatever happens, that time is there. And we're not marking up the paper with a gazillion red marks. You can put a dot, you can underline it with a regular pencil, so the child has a chance to fix it himself. We want to send home at the end of this unit as many quite fully correct pages as we can. But we can't do the correcting for the child. You need to hand it back to him and say, okay, there's a few things on this you need to check. If you're not quite sure how to do it, why don't you ask your partner to help you find some of the things that you want to fix up? Not the things that are wrong, the things that you want to fix up or change. Or you can look at the word, look at the words on the board and see which ones you want to, check. I happen to be reading a book that my sister-in-law gave me. Her family has been on the trustee board of the modern school in Barakamba Road for generations. So actually, the history of modern school. And I mean, a lot of the details I'm not interested in, but a lot of the philosophy of education is being discussed. And it was fascinating last night. The part was, of course, we know colonial education was intended to prepare a bunch of people to be clerks in the colonial government for the benefit of the Raj, and of no benefit whatsoever to the masses of Indians or even the strata of people who became their clerks. It didn't give them any intellectual development or cultural perspective. And the writer goes on to say this habit seeped into the way we teach and have taught all through the late 19th and 20th century in this country. We are focusing on learn the fact, memorize the spelling, get your punctuation, come to my office and work. And, I have read that in other contexts before, but this is an Indian writer talking about the Indian system that he himself grew up in, with knowing lots of well-recognized philanthropists and educationalists And, you've all heard of modern school. And anyway, I mean, I personally don't think it's as great as it used to be. It started out as a very modern school. It's just whatever it is now. But this point is something we have to remember. We've all been exposed to and trained in teaching and learning that way, the way that the colonial government set up for its own benefit. And the only people who have broken out of that were either very lucky or had another kind of education as well, or were maybe super brilliant, like let's say Ambedkar or somebody. But the masses of us, most of this country, has not been educated in the true sense of having their mind explode with possibilities. You are now in the position, the way Cape Ann Public School is going, to move over and stop trying to be in charge of your classroom and in charge of the learning, but as the advocate, as the guide for what children are doing. And luckily in class 1, they haven't been habitualized yet to all this rote learning. Kids who are in class 3 and 4 and 5, they've already picked up some of this, okay, I've got to do this, and their parents are like that too. So please take this as an opportunity to turn the page, to let go, to let there be a few mistakes, not only in what you do, because that's how we are as humans, but in what the kids produce. Your question to them is, okay, can you find a couple of things that need to be fixed up on this page? Because I think there are some. When you hand the power over to the child, he'll take it. But till now, we've kept all the power. So they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Which is why homework doesn't come in, why it's sloppy, why homework is in any case useless. And that was a point I made to Baraka. She showed me the PPT for the parent town hall or whatever it is. I said, try to mention to parents that homework is not going to look like it used to. Now, I don't know if she has the courage to say that, but anyway. Okay, so you would have copies of all this stuff if you have done your photocopying. You've got your book, you've got your lesson plans. Now you can ask questions.
Ma'am, I have a query. Like you said that while doing, once we have read the story, that book to the children, we have introduced the words and everything, and then we give one worksheet to the students that they are supposed to do. At that point of time, my role as a teacher is to sit with that particular group and observe how they are working, or am I going to
No.
the other group or something like that?
No. Okay. Now, close your eyes and picture your classroom, and you've got your 37 kids in it, and you have called, again, I would say 6, but okay, I understand it may be 8 or whatever. Don't go beyond 10. You cannot deal with more than 10 people ever in anything. So let's have your group is here, and you're going to have to establish a quiet corner. And that quiet corner is always there because you're using it every single day. And so it has to be a sacrosanct place where you have all the materials you need, whether it's a whiteboard or a chart paper, these books, anything else that you need. So you've got your 7 or 8 kids here, and you're doing this lesson that we just went through, let's say day 1. They go back to where their tables are, and they start working on the worksheet you gave them. And 6 or 8 more kids come to you. Nobody is monitoring those children unless you're lucky that you have a support teacher coming in somehow, maybe a few days a week or something. I mean, that's a miracle that I've yet to achieve. But anyway, let's try for it. What are those kids doing back at their tables? Because you've got 8 of them here. One group has a worksheet to do. The others, they have their handwriting practice. They have their spelling practice. They have their journals to write in. They're finishing a story writing that they might have started yesterday in independent writing. Worst comes to worst, they take a book for independent reading, or they're the advanced group and you say, okay, go ahead, make up some riddles, or do a drawing that shows how this story went from beginning. Come on, you can come up with ideas for them to do.
Yes.
So you only have these kids for their reading lesson. The work time, they're on their own.
They're on their tables. Okay.
Yep.
Got it, ma'am.
And-
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I don't know how you set up your classes. If you want to try to keep, let's say, group one as a group, and they come to work with you and then they go back and work together, you can do that. Or if you split them up, I don't know, whatever works for you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Very clear.
Mhm.
I have a query, ma'am.
Mm.
Shared flow of the lesson for first week. In that, you have mentioned on the very first day, student news in listening and speaking.
Speaking, yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think on the very first day, we should model, or on the very first day, we are telling them to speak on any topic, whatever they want to share.
Well, I think it has to be a little focused. Look, the first day is always the first day, and it's pretty
Yes.
open-ended. So of course you start by saying, welcome, I'm so glad you're in my class. My name is so-and-so. Our classroom number is whatever, all the little details. Here's our calendar, and we'll be using our calendar every day. So just the 2 or 3 is on your table. There was a number. That's the number of your hook where you put your bag, or this is the place you put your water bottle. You can give 2 or 3 of those things and then say, so I'll tell you a little about myself. And then after that, a couple of you may want to tell us about you. So my name is, and I live, and I have a son and a daughter. And we don't have any pets now, but I think my daughter wants to get a cat. So bus, just a little bit of that you are a human being. Or I live very far from the school, so I have to get up early. Ever about you. And then, so we'd like to learn about each other. So would someone like to tell your name and something about you? So there'll be a few minutes. There's a very important piece of educational research called wait time. When we put something out, shut up, wait for a response to form in the child's head, get the courage to do it, and then raise the hand. Just like you guys. You don't always jump up with questions. Wait. So I would give an opportunity for 3 or 4 or 5 kids who want to introduce themselves or say something. Yeah, because they're going to be a community for the rest of the time together. And now in some of the grade levels, they're wanting to start on class rules right away. I would a day or 2 on that. In your bag and how to go to the toilet. Yeah, first day, let's get that sorted. But other stuff that in my class, you must raise your hand or blah, blah, blah. Maybe day 2 or 3, and just give 1 or 2 of these guidances at the time. And then what? Why not say to the children, so you guys have been in school before, of course, before the lockdown, but what do you think helps us to work nicely as a class? What are some things we can do to help each other out? Let them come in with, well, we should be nice. Yeah, we should be nice. We should not push, and they'll come up with all this stuff. You want to frame it in a sentence, a positive sentence, such as, well, how about we'll respect each other? Okay, yeah, okay. Then you quickly note down. And what about when we want to talk or something? So somebody may say, oh, we have to wait our turn. Oh, that's another good one. So you make some quick notes to yourself. Make a chart of these 3 or 4 ideas that the kids have given, not a 10 commandments list. And say, okay, guys, yesterday you gave me some great ideas. I've made this chart. I'm going to put it here. And you know what? We need to look at this every couple of days and remind ourselves that this is how we're going to work together. So we're a happy class. How different that is than saying, these are the rules in class 1. Rules. Oh God, I don't want rules. She must be a nasty teacher. So yeah, let them talk about themselves for a couple of days. They'll feel more comfortable being in your room with these kids. Some of them they know, but some of them they don't know, and they haven't even met them much in the last year anyway. I'm so glad you've looked at the flow. Thank you for looking at it.
Thank you, ma'am. One more thing, ma'am. I was going through this lesson plan. You have written, listen to and recite selected poems. So we have to
Yeah.
select some 12 to 14 poems for the.
Do you have them?
No, ma'am,
Have
we
you
don't.
got poems?
No, ma'am, we
Okay,
don't.
don't
have.
worry about it. Okay. Yes, I also noticed that when I was looking at it, because I remember thinking we have to choose some correct poem, but some of the poems that I had heard last year were not appropriate. So let me make a quick note here. Yeah, we want some poems and we want photos of charts. Yeah. We don't have to worry about the poetry right away. In fact, we can spend a couple of months thinking about it. If any of you come across poems that you think are great for your age group, please note them. Get Anthology or the book or wherever it is you found it, or you might find something in a magazine, or who knows where you'll find it, internet. And I look at some. We want these poems to be simple, relevant to what our kids have experienced. So I don't want poems about a snowy day, because that doesn't mean anything to these kids. Simple language that they can relate to, and maybe even language that is related to the phonics that you're working on. So let's keep a track of finding some poems. Good.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Other folks?
Ma'am, as you said, work with a pencil, and then not even correcting, we are just going to underline their whatever the errors they have made, and then they are going to fix it themselves. So our job ends there, or we are supposed to correct them and then
Yeah.
send home.
Check it out. I mean, after all, and I think you have to accept that in first grade, there will be errors.
Of course.
And as a team, as a grade level team with your coordinator, you have to say, look, 75 or 80% of stuff on this particular page, if it's right, that's good enough. Let's see, let me take out one of these. Yeah. So suppose they mistake one. So what? I mean, first of all, it's not a big deal. Secondly, the parents are not going to go, no, because they didn't read the story. So what are you correcting for? You might say to the child, okay, I think I got a little confused when I was here because I read this. I'm not sure that part follows. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, what can we do to fix it? He can simply draw. Learning in that. And as far as sending stuff home, we're probably going to try to wait and send this whole packet together. So when you finish the seal, you flip it together or something. And as I've said many times before, wear as often as you can, put a little photocopied strip at the top saying, Amit has shown a lot of progress in his vowel sounds, or whatever you want to say. So, and a few minor mistakes are acceptable. So that you take the powder out of the parents' guns, that they don't have any ammunition left to go after you. I like the strategy questions that you're all asking, because clearly you have understood the flow of the lessons and the material themselves. It's pretty simple stuff. But the questions you're asking are about the how part of this. And that is the piece that you don't know yet until you actually do it, right? But a lot of this you won't be doing right away, even if the kids are back in April and you're in a regular school situation. You'll be doing some of the upper KG revision work first. So chill. Have all of you had a chance to look at the flow that I sent back, or only Shika?
I have seen, ma'am.
Ma'am Shikha and Swati.
Okay. You get it? Kind of understand where we're going on this? It's okay?
Yes,
You're not annoyed with me for making so many changes?
No, ma'am, not
No,
at
ma'am.
all. Ma'am. We are happy that
Anyway,
you've done this for us. Now we can
well, you're not alone.
plan rest of the yes.
Because the first one I got, I think was class 3. And I nearly fainted that, oh my God, so many
Yes.
things people didn't understand.
Rashmeet ma'am told me.
I mean, it was like, oh no. So I've done 3 and then 1 and 2 and lower KG, and I just finished nursery. I'm very proud of your nursery teachers. They did the best, but of course they have the least to teach. But they were okay. I still have to do class 4 and upper KG. So we shall see. But good. Okay, tell me anything else?
Ma'am, we
One
are
thing I have to
working
tell
on
you.
second and third week, and we will share it with you
Okay,
soon. Okay.
okay, sure, that's great. This set of books that we are doing for the next, whatever, 2 weeks. Today was book number 7, I think. Yeah. No, 8. The seal is 8. We have 2 more books to do, which we should be able to finish together next week. But this is only set 2. You guys are also teaching set 3.
Yes.
So we're going to have to set up some time for that. This is the vowel sounds. Now we're going to get into some of the blends. And in some ways, I don't know, some ways it's easier, some ways it's harder. A blend is a blend. I mean, BL is going to be blah. It's not going to be like these EA and AE and all this nonsense. So we have to remind Tapasya that those timings have to be scheduled also. And when do you close? You close March 15th or something? 20th?
March 17th is the last working day for students.
And what about you guys?
Ma'am, no idea.
Sorry, bad question. Okay, anyway, we will figure out a way to do these sessions. So you can do them on Wednesday. Anyway, next week we will do, maybe we'll do 2 together, numbers 9 and 10, because they're a little bit revision-y. Maybe we can condense, because you're so smart now. Okay. Last chance. Anybody wants to say anything? Okay. Wait time. Wait. All right. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Take care. Good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Here's my lead. There we go.